Well, let's talk about it. First, I have to admit when I'm wrong, and I was wrong. I was all aboard the lane train of staying at Old Miss. My gut was telling me stay at Old Miss. He built something awesome there, historic run there. His time there for the past 5, 6 seasons has been the best at Old Miss. My gut was telling me he'd stay at Old Miss. Man, over the past week, past couple days, my phone battery hates me because all I've been doing was refreshing. What's Lane Kiffin's decision? What's Lane Kiffin's decision? And all these sources on X and other social media platforms saying what's happening, this, and that. But we all know how that went because we got a report saying that he had an ultimatum that they had to say right after the Egg Bowl. He went on Pat McAfee's show and said that is not true. So all these reports were just super hard to believe. And still, they are still continuing to pour in about what exactly happened. There's been no press conference, anything like that. So right now we're still speculating on what exactly happened. And a lot of it I don't believe just because it sounds so incredibly far-fetched. So incredibly far-fetched, even for Lane Kiffin. So Lane Kiffin put out a tweet and said that he has decided to take the LSU job. Let's find the tweet here for people. I'm sure you've already read it. And we want to blast this up a little bit. I don't want you to see the comments. So give me 1 second. I apologize. Hopefully you guys can see the tweet. This is what Lane Kiffin had to say. After a lot of prayer and time spent with family, I made the difficult decision to accept the head coaching position at LSU. I was hoping to complete a historic 6-season run with this year's team by leading Ole Miss through the playoffs, capitalize on the team's incredible success and their commitment to finish strong, and investing everything into a playoff run with guardrails in place to protect the program in any areas of concern. My request to do so was denied by Keith Carter, despite the team also asking him to allow me to keep coaching them so they could be better, maintain their high level of performance. Unfortunately, that means Friday's Egg Bowl was my last coaching the Rebels. While I'm looking forward towards a new start with a unique opportunity at LSU, I will forever cherish the incredible 6 years I spent at Ole Miss and will be rooting hard for the team to complete their mission and bring a championship to Oxford. Lane Kiffin. So let's talk about what kind of led us to this point. Ever since the Egg Bowl, a lot has happened. Lane Kiffin himself said he would let everybody know Saturday, which we didn't know yesterday. We knew today, obviously. A lot of people posting all over X about they're going to wait till after the Iron Bowl because if Alabama lost to Auburn, Ole Miss would have been the SEC championship game. The rumors were swirling that if they were in the SEC game, then he would postpone his decision until afterwards. If they weren't in the SEC championship game, then we would know. And all yesterday, it kept saying he's going to LSU. He's going to LSU. Then you saw he was staying at Ole Miss. I stayed up trying to figure out what was going on. The more, it became around 10 o'clock at night, we knew we weren't going to know till today. And then all morning, he's going to have a meeting. This means that he's leaving because why would he have a meeting? And just all this hatred has come out for Lane Kiffin, saying what a spectacle this has become. There was a tweet saying that he lined up all the offensive coaches and said, you better get on a plane that's coming here, that's going to Baton Rouge. If you don't hop on, you are not going to have a job with me in the next season. That I don't believe whatsoever. There's nothing that supports that is what was said. He also apparently was at the chancellor or athletic director's house last night. There was pictures of like his car there, and they were meeting, and the meeting took a while. And he left, and when he left, there was nothing said on social media. And Marty Smith from ESPN, he was at the facility for Ole Miss that entire time, said that for Lane Kiffin not to come out right now and say that he is staying at Ole Miss is showing that he's going to leave and doesn't show that he's committed. So we got to be prepared for him to be gone, and from LSU, especially because we didn't hear anything last night. And just all this hatred has come out for Lane Kiffin. And one thing I want to say is, yes, could Lane Kiffin handle things better? Yes, it's easy for us to sit here when we're not in the position that he is in and say, we would have done this, we would have done that. It's super easy for us to say, so I think we all have to calm down. But it's easy to go on X and post whatever you want. We have freedom of speech. I'm happy that you can say these things, but it's easy for us to sit here and talk about the situation when we're not the ones that are in it. That's the first thing. The second, the college football rules, the calendar is unfair. It is completely unfair. And I'm not talking about how Lane Kiffin can leave, right? That's been the reason for the transfer portal to take off as much as it has, because coaches just kind of left whenever they felt like it. Even though people don't understand that for Lane Kiffin to leave, there's probably a payout that he has to do. Now, usually the other school pays that. That's part of it is, hey, I owe them. I have to pay $10 million to get out of my contract. Usually the other school either pays that out front, or they say, okay, your deal would have been 7 years, $90 million. Now it's going to be 7 years, $80 million. Or it's built in there somewhere where some of that money will go to Ole Miss or wherever to pay to get out of that. So these players have to understand that when these coaches do that, there is a payout that they have to negotiate. So that's why I've said for a long time, since this has happened, if players are getting paid, there should be a payout, right? Where you didn't fulfill 2 years of your contract, so you owe this amount of money. How are you going to pay us back? And that's kind of, they want to be treated like adults, then make them do adult things like that. That's involved in contracts like that in the NFL and in college football. It's not fair. People that don't know, the calendar is up to where the transfer portal is coming soon. Early signing day, which almost doesn't mean anything because people can decommit left and right whenever they want. But the fact that recruiting, trying to get that done before transfer portal window, you got to meet with the team to say what players are going to stay. You have to, like, all these things have to happen super quick. And I think it was Nick Saban that said this one day on College Game Day, was he really wishes that a transfer portal window would only happen once. Maybe it should happen in the summer or right before the summer. Get rid of spring ball, move that type of stuff into the summer. The transfer portal, you can practice and stuff in the spring, but don't really have like spring ball, quote unquote. Like we have workouts and everything else. Have one transfer portal window right before the summer, so they go into the summer knowing who their team is. Because in spring ball, they're having their spring game, they're doing X, Y, and Z. They think this is their roster, and then these players just start leaving right after spring ball. But also, like in the NFL, you have to have permission to talk to coaches, but also you can't talk, like, to get permission, their seasons have to be over. Because people are really blasting Lane Kiffin right now, saying, well, if you really want to finish this, you would have stayed, right? But here's the thing, if he truly felt that resources are better at LSU, maybe there's more money, maybe there's more boosters, maybe it's going to draw in more talent to where he doesn't always have to hit the transfer portal. It's an opportunity where he's probably sitting there going, LSU is a blue blood type of place. It's a unique opportunity to really test my coaching skills from what I've learned and the mistakes I have made. And his family was there, apparently. There was photos or videos. That was probably one of the things he wanted to see if his family would like it there. He's putting them above that. And if they like it there, he really then has to consider it. Where is this a good place to go for my family? Is this a place where he's won championships as an assistant? Is this a place where he feels like he can win a championship at LSU, even though I feel like he had that opportunity here at Ole Miss? But these are just things that are swirling around in his mind especially being at Ole Miss for 6 years, which is his longest stop as a head coach, maybe as an assistant coach, even like his longest ever. So a lot of things are swirling in his mind. And it's not like, hey, here's the offer. You don't have to talk to us until you're done with your season. No, it's like he has to make a decision. And then Ole Miss is putting him in a spot saying, because of how the calendar works, you have to make a decision because then we have to find a head coach. We try to have to retain assistant coaches. We have to try to retain players. And the timing is what sucks. So this calendar is what is hurting Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss. And that's where the NCAA needs to make some changes and actually work for and help better the student athlete, because that's who Lane Kiffin just kept thinking about was the players, and his assistant coaches. That is what's really is bothersome about this whole situation. It would have been awesome if they said, hey, athletic director says you cannot talk to Lane Kiffin until we're done with our season. So if they lose the first round of the playoffs, the next day they're allowed to talk to Lane Kiffin. If they win their first round playoff game, you can't talk to them and can't talk to them. Then that forces LSU's hand to say, well, do we go find another coach then? And Lane Kiffin's in a good situation. See, this is like the NFL stuff. Even to talk to assistant coaches, they have to have permission in order to talk to these coaches. And that's kind of where I think they need to lean towards in college football. So people are going after Lane Kiffin big time, saying he's the same old Lane Kiffin. There are tweets saying, Tennessee fans, we feel you. No. Lane Kiffin spent 6 years here. His name was brought up for other head coaching jobs during his time here. He didn't go. He was trying to build it up. And part of the coaching world is if you get fired or if you leave, you want things left in a better spot than when you found it. I think he did that. He has left it in a spot where it's better than it was founded. People are also saying to Ole Miss, you should let him coach in the playoff and finish this. Accept the head job, but you also get to finish this. I am torn on this. I understand 100% about Ole Miss not letting him finish because they have to find a head coach, which we'll talk about in a second. In their minds, they would say, well, we have to find a head coach. You're going to an SEC school that we play. You're going to be distracted here. So we don't want you to finish it. Just leave, right? You don't want to be here. Just go. But I also understand the side of, well, Lane Kiffin recruited these kids here. He hired these assistant coaches. Let's finish what we started. And the easy thing to say is, well, if you want to finish what you started, then you tell LSU you're not taking the job. But then if he really wants the job, to tell them he's going to take it later is the same thing in putting Ole Miss in a situation saying, well, you haven't accepted it yet, but you're going to. It's in the same situation. So this whole accept it later, excuse me, weather change. It's just a unfortunate situation for Lane Kiffin, to be honest with you. And people are talking about how he made it a spectacle, could have just said he was going to LSU before the Egg Bowl, but then would they have let him finish that one? To just keep dragging this on for like a day. You know what? In my opinion, you're making this big decision. He could take all of Saturday if he wanted to. He could have taken all today for all I care. They're not in the SEC title game, so there's a whole week off, essentially, to make this decision. It shows how much he likes Ole Miss, because if he really, really wanted to go, he would have just left. If he didn't like Ole Miss, he would have left. So, and then my understanding, which, excuse me, I apologize. This tells me that when he was having these long meetings, he was really trying to get where could we make this work and I could help finish it, but I'm going to take this job. My family loves it. I just think for my career, I need to step in. We don't know what Nick Saban told him. We don't know what Pete Carroll told him. He said he was going to call those people. They must have gave him some advice. This just tells me that that's what he was trying to do, and that's what took so long, was trying to figure out a way and to make this as peaceful as possible. People are saying that he did this on purpose. He wanted to make it about himself. He he didn't learn anything from his experiences from when he was offense coordinator at USC, then he was the head coach of the Raiders, then he head coach of Tennessee for 1 year, then went to USC for a couple years, was let go, offensive coordinator at Alabama, head coach at Florida Atlantic, then went to Ole Miss. Now he's at LSU. I think he did learn something because of the thought process that he was saying to himself of what he wanted to do. So I think he did learn something. I don't think there's a great way to handle this at all. So I think we need to give Lane Kiffin a little bit of slack here. He wasn't going to tell the media his decision. He did hold a player meeting. Apparently, players are not happy. And I don't think that's fair because players, you're leaving whenever you want. Coaches were already doing this before, and I know that's what kind of led to stuff like this in the transfer portal. But you leave whenever you guys want. So why are you going to go after Lane Kiffin, who has to consider family more than you? He has to consider you guys. And that's what he did. I think he just really was trying to find a way around finishing the season. Another report was that he told the coaches to come with him. If not, they'll have another job. I think that's completely false. He probably told them that, because their offense coordinator, there's a video right now of him getting on a plane to Baton Rouge. Charlie Weiss Jr. is following Lane Kiffin. Sources told on 3 Sports that Ole Miss was trying to retain him. The conversation Lane Kiffin probably had with the assistant coaches were, you can stay and finish out the season, but I can't guarantee you a job here because I'm going to have to get a staff finalized. If you need time to think while you do this, that's fine. You don't have to go yet. That's probably what the conversation is. But you're seeing like Lane Kiffin's a snake. You've got like former play, like all this stuff is now starting to come out. And the funny thing is, Ole Miss people were all about Lane Kiffin. They fought to want him to stay. But then the moment he's not there, now he's this. Now he's that. Now he's that. Now this is college football. This is the fandom. This is why college football is so great. But that's the problem here is that if he was that bad, why'd you want him in the first place? Why'd you want him at all? So that's a big problem I have reading a lot of this. Here's a good tweet. Or here's a tweet. After what he's done for the Ole Miss program, anything but thank you would be considered mighty selfish. So you should say thank you. He did this. Here's another one. We get it. The system is broken. You could have made your point in taking the job without all the drama. Hey, what drama? X created the drama. These reporters created the drama. He just wanted time to think. Here's a video of him. I don't know if he's driving, if he's in this car. There's fans flipping him off. And this, it just stinks because like I tell Illinois fans, I'm an Illinois fan. We have to remember where we came from. So when people are going after Brent Bielema, we have to think about where we came from. People wanted Brad Underwood fired at one point because now we have these, these super high expectations because of how we're winning now. But remember where we were before these coaches showed up, right? So we have to remember that. Ole Miss fans, remember where you were before Lane Kiffin showed up. Lane Kiffin has made Ole Miss a place that some people want to go. Okay. Remember that. Remember that. And he has to take this, because if this is his next step, because another thing I think people need to understand, us coaches have goals for ourselves as well. Now, I've been coaching high school football for 16 years. I have jumped around from high school to high school. Never been a head coach, but I've jumped around. Now, I've jumped around because I was volunteering, doing it for free, had opportunity to get paid. I've jumped because I moved, things like that, or mainly those reasons. For me, it was, well, my goal for myself is this, or this. Lane Kiffin probably has goals for his career as well. And if LSU is one of those, he's going to have to think about this and consider this. So we have to be okay with him going. So I think he's getting unnecessary hate. He didn't create any drama that I'm aware of. Comment below if there was something that he personally did that I am forgetting. But from my point of view, I don't think a lot of these reports that's causing drama is what actually happened. I don't believe that, because it just doesn't make sense. And nobody else besides these reporters have come out and said this. Until we see a press conference, until we see the coaches come out and say that this is exactly what he did, then I'm not going to believe it. Like I said, I guarantee the conversation was, you have to come with me right now if you want. It was one of two things. It was, come with me right now and you're guaranteed a job, like today. The second one could have been, come with me now. If you don't, I can't guarantee you a job because I have to start interviewing people. Those are probably the conversations had. And something else. Another conversation probably had with Ole Miss was money, not for him, but probably for assistant coaches, probably for name, image, and likeness, paying players, probably upgrades to everything around, probably all those conversations. And if their visions, or if they didn't have it that LSU had, he has to also take that into consideration. So I firmly believe that he kind of told them he was going to LSU last night, or he said, I'm going to let you know in the morning, because he really had to consider this and deep down turmoil with him, because he even said Oxford saved his life, got him back on track. Now he's going to be going to LSU. LSU has a home run hire of a coach. And that's the other thing. If Lane Kiffin's this bad person, why does LSU want him? So, like, none of this makes sense. None of it is true. But also, Ole Miss made this decision rather quickly. As soon as this happened, it's reported that the interim head coach is their defensive coordinator, Pete Golden. I want to make sure that I said the name right. Pete Golden, he was defense coordinator for Alabama for a couple years. And then Lane Kiffin got him to come to Ole Miss, I think back in 2023, I think. He is now named the permanent head football coach. It was within like 15 minutes, 20 minutes of this happening. So they were prepared for him to leave. I wonder if they had conversations with him before that saying, you're going to be the head coach if Lane leaves. Like, all of this is just, none of it, some of it doesn't make sense. I don't know. It's a good hire, I believe. He's a good defensive coordinator. Otherwise, Nick Saban wouldn't have kept him for as long as he did as a defensive coordinator. The players were coming out of the meeting saying it's Pete's time now, it's Pete's time now. And the emotions are high, like Lane Kiffin's leaving. You feel a little bit betrayed because you're in the college football playoff. Lane Kiffin said the players were asking if he could finish. I understand why he can't. So all this just sucks. Now, when the dust settles, when this isn't so fresh, up until now, LSU has to go to Oxford next season, which that's going to be, get your popcorn ready. Watch, everybody's going to be doing, that's going to be one of the highest rated games, I think, of next year. It's just, when the dust settles, people won't be so mad. They're going to understand where he was coming from. And Ole Miss, he's left you in a great position to probably to continue to win. So if he goes to LSU and doesn't do what he's wanting to do, that's on him. And he understands that. That's why they're adult decisions. He understands if I go to LSU and I don't win a championship or anything like that, okay, I made a bad mistake. But you should still be set up to win. So I've left you in a good spot. And people talk about him jumping all over the place, back and forth, back and forth. Nick Saban's the greatest football coach of all time. Does anybody know his coaching history? He bounced around a lot as an assistant coach. A lot. He left LSU before. He just got to an age where he found Alabama and decided, this is where I'm going to stay. And I think that's what Lane Kiffin's trying to do. I think he's trying to envision where he can kind of end it, right? Like, kind of end his coaching career in a place that has like unlimited resources to maybe do what Nick Saban did or what Dabo Swinney's done, what Kirby Smart is doing. He wants to be like that. Now, he likes Oxford. He liked Ole Miss. But part of the conversations that we don't know about with the higher ups at Ole Miss, was that vision going to be something that he could see happening? The conversations he had with LSU, maybe that's where he could see it happening. So these are all business decisions that he had to consider, and that's why he took a while. And he didn't come out and say, I'm going to LSU, now I'm not going to LSU, or maybe I'm going, maybe I'm not. He said he's going to let us know, and he did. We'll hear from him today or tomorrow soon, I know. But back off of Lane Kiffin. It's really not, he didn't do really anything wrong besides, yeah, maybe you wanted him to tell you sooner. I don't know. No matter when he said it, it was going to end up like this anyway. But people are going back to that ESPN 30 for 30 and a couple podcasts he did, and they're saying, you haven't learned anything. Look what you were saying here. Look what you were saying here. Look what you've done now. You've created drama. It's worse than when he left Tennessee. No, it's not. He was on the terminal and said he was leaving. At least this time was a lot different. And I don't think there's any good way of leaving at all. I really don't. And this whole, like, if you don't let me finish, I'm going to poach the players. If you let me finish, I'm not going to poach the players. I don't think that's what was said either. So a lot of the drama has been created by journalists, these sources, people all over claiming they know what's going on. People close, until you hear it from Lane Kiffin, until you hear it from the athletic director, until you hear it from the chancellor, president, whoever, it didn't happen until you hear it from their mouth. So Lane Kiffin now is off to LSU. LSU, I think, is going to be back. I think they're going to be back. So they're going to be a contender in the SEC rather quickly. I'm not saying next year. We don't know anything like that. But it's going to be interesting to watch LSU now. Lane Kiffin, I'm still a fan. I don't care who comes after me. Still a fan. I think you did things right at LSU. You were entertaining. You're going to say what you want. You're going to handle yourself the way you want to handle yourself. And I think people need to respect that. You're going to be you. You're going to do your thing. I might have to be a pocket, or a closet LSU fan, especially because people are hating on you. And I know that you didn't mean any ill will. I know you didn't want to hurt anybody. And I know you're just trying to do what you felt was right for you and your family. And sometimes in coaching, I know you got to put players first and their families first. Once in a while, you got to do something for yourself. And if you feel like this is the right thing to do, then it's the right thing to do. And only time will tell if it's the right thing for you to do. So thank you, everybody, for watching and or listening. Like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow me on Apple, iTunes, and Spotify. Follow on X, Instagram, TikTok. Thanks you for watching or listening. We'll see you guys next time.